Newcastle United pick up a fantastic 4-0 win at the weekend against Aston Villa and now set their sights on Southampton away this Sunday. Reports coming out this morning that Callum Wilson is looking good to be heading to the World Cup with England this winter. Joelinton has been inviting Newcastle fans around to his house again, and we have an update on the upgrades currently going on at the Newcastle training ground, which are set to come into force as of next week. Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news. As always at the moment, there is loads of good things going on and off the pitch at Newcastle United, so we have got plenty to get through in today's video. Before we get started, if I could please ask that you scroll down and hit that big red subscribe button. I know loads of you guys watch Toon Tuesdays every week, but still haven't subscribed, and it really helps the channel. It means you guys are notified of the videos, and aside from Toon Tuesdays, I'm pretty much uploading every day at the moment, so be sure not to miss out. Alright, let's get into the video. So as I mentioned, Newcastle picked up a fantastic 4-0 win at the weekend against Aston Villa. What a win! What a win. What a month it's been for Newcastle. What a year it's been. But we are playing so good right now. Playing Aston Villa, who, have had the manager go, the new manager bounce. They beat Brentford 4-0. I'm thinking this could be a tough game. No. I mean, the first half was a little bit, here and there. But once we got the goal through Callum Wilson with the penalty, we were off. We went into half-time, came back out. We were on it. I mean, we got 3 goals in the space of about 10-15 minutes in the second half. Was absolutely crazy. 2 goals for Callum Wilson. Now, it's reported that Southgate was in the stands watching. Was that Wilson he was watching? Was it Trippier? Was it Pope? Was it Dan Burn? Possibly all of them. Hopefully all of them. And it's really, really looking good for Callum Wilson going to the World Cup at the moment. He scored himself 2 goals in that game. Could have had a third. In fact, he had a shot that was saved that Joelinton scored. Could have been a hat-trick. He also hit the crossbar with a header. That could have been a hat-trick as well, but a really, really good game for Callum Wilson. Was rated 10 out of 10 by quite a lot of sports journalists in that game, and it's now being reported by the Telegraph this morning that the FA, the England FA, are actually in talks at the moment with the Newcastle United medical department. Apparently they are asking questions to see what he's like, is he okay, and you would presume that is because they are deciding on whether to take him to the World Cup or not. So, a big fingers crossed for Callum Wilson. He had a great game. As I've said before, part of me, wouldn't mind if he, had a nice month off and a little sit around on the sofa to save his legs. But, he plays for Newcastle. I'd love to see him get that experience, go to the World Cup. And he's spoken about how much he wants to be involved, but that he wanted to do his talking on the pitch. He did exactly that. He really did. What a game. 10 out of 10 performance for him. And, who knows? Pope, Trippier, Dan Burn as well. Is he in the shout? Because he has played such good football recently. And at a time where, there's injuries in the England squad, there's centre-back questions, there's left-back questions, Dan Burn can do both. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But as I mentioned, Callum Wilson scored 2. Joelinton got himself a goal. As it happens, the Brazil coach was also reportedly in the stands as well. It's likely he's come to take a look at Bruno. We expect Bruno to be on the plane for Brazil. Another great game from him as always. But Joelinton had a very good game as well, and he also got himself a goal. So who knows? Maybe Joelinton just earned himself a call up to the World Cup squad as well. And our 4th goal came from who else? Almiron scores again. Every time he gets it on that left foot. You know what? In the first half, we got the penalty because Almiron cut in on his left, and he had Young flying over it, hit his arm. There was a few times where he did that, and they were trying to double up, triple up on him. He found that space in the second half, and as soon as he had it, straight into the far corner. Paraguay are not in the World Cup, but I'm sure one person that was watching was probably Jack Grealish from somewhere. But what a game, what an October month it's been. 5 wins in 6 for Newcastle United, a draw against Manchester United. It's expected that Miggy will win goal of the season. I mean, he's scored all the goals of this. Goal of the month, I should say. Probably has a few contenders in goal of the season as well, but goal of the month is got to be nailed on. Player of the month, I reckon, is nailed on for Almiron as well. And manager of the month for Eddie Howe. I mean, I think we are top of the league for points in the Premier League in October. It's been a good month. And we want to keep it going as we now look ahead to Southampton this weekend. It's a game where we go down there and sometimes don't always have the easiest of trips, but we're playing so good right now. I will continue to say that an away trip, a point in the Premier League, is a good point, but they aren't playing very good right now, and we are playing well, attacking-wise and defensively. Still the best defensive record in the Premier League this season. I've got high hopes for the game going down there, and you talk about the fact that players like Shelvey are making their way back. Maxi is expected to be fit for this Sunday as well. Let's hope we can go down there and get another win. Speaking of John Joe Shelvey, if he is to make an appearance this Sunday against Southampton, it will be his 200th appearance for Newcastle United and will grant him a 1-year extension to his Newcastle United contract, which is thought to be worth around £3 million. Not too bad, that is a year's work for £3 million. But in fairness, if he doesn't make it against Southampton but plays against Crystal Palace next week, or Chelsea a week and a half away, or pretty much anybody after the World Cup ends, he'll get that extension. If he hadn't have got injured, he would have had it already. So, yeah, fingers crossed we could see Shelvey play his 200th appearance, get his contract extension, and he can start to kick on. Hopefully with the World Cup being out, you can get another pre-season in and hopefully start the second half of the season the way we hoped he would have started the first half of this season. We spoke about the fact that Shelvey was looking fitter than he's ever been, to be honest, after the pre-season with Eddie Howe, after having looked, tired, at times a bit on his last legs and like he couldn't be bothered really. And like with a lot of players, Eddie Howe turned him around, was really getting a lot out of him, and I think would have been, a big player for us this season. I think Eddie Howe was really trying to line up that Shelvey, Bruno, Joelinton as a 3. Shelvey got injured, Willock's come in and done great, and so has Longstaff, but it would be great to see Shelvey kind of return and have more of a role in this side. So fingers crossed we see him get his extension, and it'll be interesting to see if he gets the year, if there's talks about him staying any longer after that as well. But we'll take one step at a time. We'll see if Shelvey plays. If he does, it doesn't, I think he's going to get the extension pretty soon regardless. Some exciting news as Newcastle have introduced their newest member of the Backroom staff. It is Michael Emerson, who is the new first team data analyst. Now, this was reported on a couple of different outlets, but if you want to be a little bit nosy like me and look on his LinkedIn, you'll see that he has updated it to the first team data analyst of Newcastle United. So welcome, Michael. As it happens, he actually went to Northumbria Uni, so he could well be a local lad. I'm not 100% sure on that. But what I do know is he spent 10 years at Chelsea. He got his coaching badges. He made his way through the under-23s. He did some work with England Women's as well before going on to be the data analyst at Chelsea. And we've brought him in as of now. So welcome, Michael. It's crazy because I've spoken about this before on the number of jobs that are going to start being introduced at Newcastle United is going to be crazy. You can talk about the big dogs, Darren Eales, the CEO, Dan Ashworth, but there are so many other jobs that are going to start appearing who, I'll say potentially, maybe, allegedly weren't wanted under the previous regime, but are now definitely wanted under the current regime. You talk about players coming in, but everything's getting so statistical now. Computers are part of the game, and it helps improve game on game when you know this kind of thing. And that's why we've got a guy like Michael coming in to really try and improve that. And as I say, this will not be the first of, I think, a lot of different people, jobs, coming over from potentially other teams to get involved in the project. We are really heading in a good direction at the moment, and a lot of people want to get involved, which is just amazing. And it's not just the football on the pitch or the backroom staff. We are literally trying to improve everything at Newcastle United at the moment, as we saw in the Aston Villa game, as Newcastle United launched their first ever commentary service for visually impaired fans. So this happened in the Aston Villa game and will be available at every home game going forward. So for blind or visually impaired fans, they will still go to the games. They're still Newcastle fans. They'll go in, they'll listen to all the goals we're scoring at the moment, but for the first time ever, we'll now be able to listen to an in-stadium commentary of what is going on in the games. Now, there is an email address that I will put down in the description. It is unitedasone@nufc.co.uk. If you write in, I believe they'll be able to help you. I also believe that if you go to the game and ask your closest steward, they should be able to provide you with a receiver. You'll have to bring your own headphones. It needs to be a round jack that you put into the receiver, and you'll be able to hear the guys doing the commentary throughout the game. I can see the game. Even I'm interested to know what it's like. But how good's that? How good is that? I know there is a handful or maybe even more Premier League teams who do this already. It's through a separate server. I think it's the AMS service who come in and do this. It's great news for Newcastle, and it's something else we can, tick off that we've gone on, improved on, and brought to the club to help the fans. So big up on that one. As I mentioned, Joelinton had a fantastic game at the weekend. Obviously, the Brazil coach was in the crowd, or reportedly in the crowd, so fingers crossed we could maybe see him at the World Cup. Now, as it happens, the goal that he scored in the game against Aston Villa was Newcastle United's 1,400th goal in the Premier League, so he's hit a little bit of a milestone. He's doing some great things on the pitch for Newcastle right now, and he's also doing some great things off the pitch as well. You might remember not too long ago where he actually invited a Newcastle fan to his house who had tattoos of, Joelinton, Bruno. He invited the guy down with his children to come and say hello. I think they played a bit of football in the garden. And Joelinton doesn't promote this, by the way. He's not doing these nice things and promoting it, saying, look how good I am. He's just inviting them down. I'm only finding out about it because, the guys who do it take photos and show what they got up to. Well, he's done it again. After the Aston Villa game, he actually grabbed a flag from the crowd. It was the Denmark Mags who had come over from Denmark for the game. Joelinton took the flag into the changing rooms, got all the fans to sign it. Sorry, all the fans. Got all the players. You'd have a hard job getting all the fans to sign it, although we'll come on to something about that in a moment with the flag and fans. But he got all the players to sign it. And then invited the Denmark Mags over to his house, where he gave them the signed flag, and once again is just doing his bit for the fans. So well done to Joelinton. It's quality. And as I say, he's not posted this anywhere. He hasn't put it on his Twitter or his Instagram going, look how good I am. We know about this because the Denmark Mags posted it themselves. So, yeah, great. Big up for them coming over, supporting the side. As I say, the buzz around Newcastle is just so good right now. And when the players are just doing nice things because they fancy it, it's just so nice to hear. And as we talk about giant flags with supporters' names on it, as we know, Joelinton, the players are doing a great job, the owners are doing a great job, the fans and war flags are doing a great job as well. As we know, they put on flag displays for all of the games at St James's Park. We've seen, flags waved by the fans in the crowd. We've seen the huge surfer flags. We've got the Joelinton flag. We've got loads of different flags. Well, you might remember the giant surfer flag that had all of the fans' names on it. You had the chance to write in help donate, because again, War Flags is not part of, well, it's part of Newcastle United in that they are fans of, but it's not ran by Newcastle United. War Flags is purely fan-ran. They go off donations and help from the fans. And they are given the opportunity for a new surfer flag with your name on it. So if you would like to, you can donate £5 and get your name on the newest upcoming surfer flag from War Flags. So I will put the link down in the description. Last time round, they also released little replica flags as well, so you could also get them to see your own name. And I believe they're also hoping to do a big digital flag as well, so you can zoom in, you can look at where your name was on the flag. So as I say, if you would like to get involved, help donate to what is a fantastic cause and War Flags for everything that they're doing, and also get the chance to have your name on a flag as well, you can do. So as I say, Joelinton's got flags with the players' names on it. We can get our flags with our names on it as well, which, yeah, is a big part of the atmosphere at St James's Park. So even if you want to donate less than £5 or more than £5, you can do to help the cause. But if you want to donate that £5, you can go in to get your name on the newest War Flags flag. And as we talk about good things going on off the pitch, I've no doubt you guys know that the Newcastle owners want to build the brand new training centre that we'll come on to a little bit in a moment. But Eddie Howe has given us updates on the upgrades that are currently going on at the Benton training ground. So the plan is that we want to have a brand new state-of-the-art training ground in the next 4 to 5 years that, as I say, I'll talk about more in a moment. But in the immediate time, we've been doing upgrades at Benton, and Eddie Howe has let us know that we are set to start benefiting from these upgrades as of next week. As it happens, the conversation of the interview started off asking about the Richard Keys comments that were made last week, where, if you didn't know, you know, Newcastle's #1 fan, Richard Keys, said that he thinks we should move the training ground down to London, because apparently that would be good for the club. I really don't know why. Eddie Howe said that it's a complete non-starter. Well, he actually said that he had no idea anybody had even made these comments, which made it even better. But then he said it's a complete non-starter. We are very proud of the city, and that he loves to live here, basically. You give it your all on the pitch and off the pitch in the location, and that will never change. He then went on to talk a little bit about what's going on at the Benton training ground. Now, it was actually quite a surprise to hear, because we put in the permissions at the council, you know, in the summer, asking about upgrades that we can make to Benton, wanting to bring in a hydro chamber, wanting to bring in bigger community rooms, wanting to bring in more space, and basically just improve what we currently have. Eddie Howe said that he hasn't had any benefit yet. As it happens, they've actually had the opposite of any benefit. They are pretty much cramped in a small room, but hopefully, as of next week, the players will start to have access to these new benefits coming to the Benton training ground. That includes a brand new changing rooms. He actually said that at the moment, the players are having to get changed in separate rooms because there is not enough space for everybody to be together, which he actually said is a big thing that he wants to change, as it really helps to the camaraderie of the players being, you know, together in a room, or doing this or doing that, and not having to constantly split up. He actually said that it might still be a little bit of time before the staff are able to have the same, because he puts the players first, they get the priority. He was almost laughing and saying that hopefully the staff will be able to get that soon as well. But it's great to hear that we are now introducing, you know, some of these requests that we made from the council that we are bringing to the Benton training ground. You'll remember that when we actually made the requests to North Tyneside Council, we actually said at the time that the training ground was no better than most Championship clubs. and that changes had to be made. As I've mentioned, the hydro chamber, he had a big focus on community spaces for the players to start using, so it's great to hear from Eddie that that will start to come into action as of next week, and it's understood that the Benton upgrades should be ready by 2023. And if you think we've got the World Cup going on, I think that's again the reason why we are looking to go out to Saudi Arabia on a, well, it's part of the club, it's part of the promotion, but it's also a chance to get out of our building site and get over to, a state-of-the-art place where the guys can get involved. I would not be surprised if we announced another trip over the winter break, because of the fact that although it's great to hear that we are starting to introduce some of these things, I think really that it's going to be ready, 100% done, 2023. And then that brings on the next question: where are we with the brand new state-of-the-art training centre? And I do want to do a full separate video on this as well, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But just to touch on a few things that I believe or allegedly know at this moment in time, it's understood that we've knocked it down to 4 potential spots for the brand new training ground. The leading location is thought to be up at Gosforth Park because of the amount of space there, and it's going to be colossal. Like, it's going to be mental. We talk about the Benton one, trying to bring this in, trying to bring that in. This is literally going to be crazy. I think it will be better than Man City's. It will be better than Leicester's. It will have everything. It will have accommodation. It will have everything that a player could ever need on that spot. You talk about bringing new players in, the first thing they see, and where they live their lives almost. You talk about, they say that you spend more time with your work colleagues than you do with your actual family, because that's where you spend your whole day. You spend more time at work than you do, at home or whatever, because that's where you go, and that's why they need to make this new training ground such a big thing. It's going to have everything you could ever imagine. I think it'll have food, restaurants, it'll have accommodation for these players, guys coming over from new countries who need somewhere to stay, haven't found a home. It will have full sections ready for the team to be able to stay over and do so much more. And I want to talk about all of that in more detail in a future video. But the good news is that the benefits and the upgrades we've requested at Benton are getting there now, and hopefully that will be good for the players for the rest of this season and beyond, as we start to build up this colossal new training centre. And that is it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this week's Toon Tuesdays. Loads to get through as always, so if you are still watching at this time in the video and you haven't subscribed, please do. As I mentioned, I've got loads of videos planned at the moment. Southampton at the weekend. I'm hoping it's going to be a good one. Then we've got two home games in a week next week, because we've got Palace on the Wednesday in the Cup. Then Chelsea, the big one at home, is our last home game of the half season before the World Cup. And then I do plan to do some stuff through the World Cup as well, so be sure not to miss out. Alright guys, thanks for watching as always. Drop a like, subscribe, as I mentioned, and I'll catch you later.